Welcome to the Limitless Tribe, where two badass women build businesses, chase dreams, and keep it way too real. I'm Kat.
And I'm Mel. We're the founders of Powerhouse Admins and the Limitless Tribe, and we're inviting you into the messy middle, the mindset shifts, and the CEO glow-ups we never see coming.
Now let's get into it.
Okay, so today we're getting real on business. Many of you have had a dream or like a little voice in your head that won't go away, but you really don't know where to start. You're newer in the business or you're newer to business and you're not sure what you want to do or how you want to do it. So today, that's what our conversation will be about.
Yes, so there's a lot of romanticizing around business, right? Everybody or a lot of people want to start a business, and we get all of the highlights of being a business owner on social media. And even sometimes when we talk to business owners, if it's like por encimita, like on surface level, it might just be the wins that you see. But if you really talk to a business owner, you're going to see that there's a lot that goes into getting to that point. And that's why they're so proud of those wins, because it was a struggle, right? So it's not the perfect, romantic, easy, quick, get rich scheme that people think it is, right?
Or that they show on social media. I feel like everything is like, oh, look how great my business is going. This is amazing, right? And they show you all these highlights that you're like, man,
yes,
so crazy.
And
that's
not
wonderful.
Not even the highlights, but like sometimes it'll show you, you'll find the person when they're already years into it.
Yeah.
So
not the struggle that they went through.
Correct.
Together.
So to you, they're new, right? To you. And you see them already showing up at this better version of themselves, but you don't see all the different layers that they've already let go of, all the improvements, all the lessons, all the, scrappiness that they use in the beginning. We only see like that perfect version, right? But today we're going to talk more about the reality of it, the fears, the imposter syndrome, the breakdowns, the wins, the doubts, because there's a lot of them, right? And if you've dreamed of this, but you've been stuck in the fears or how to get started, then this episode is for you. One big quote for me that I always remember for leadership, and I got the concept, but it didn't really make sense to me until I actually became a business owner. So I know you've heard this. It's the quote that says that business owners jump off a cliff and learn how to fly on the way down.
So I love that when I read it after you had said it. I was like, oh, that's so true.
I love it. But before being a business owner, thinking more logically, and like I think a lot of us that were stuck in starting a business and don't actually do it, you get stuck in the planning process. So the thought of jumping off the cliff before you've learned how to fly and how to back up and how to parachute and had projected everywhere you were going to go does not make sense. But that's the reason why we don't become business owners, because we're waiting for everything to make sense before, versus the business owner is like, there will be a way and I will find it, let's go.
Yeah.
And that really, really resonates with me, especially now actually doing it. Now I really get it. And it couldn't be more true. So a little bit about me, right? So I've always wanted to be a business owner since I could remember. When I was 18, actually, with a best friend that I had at the time, we went to...
You had another best friend?
I did. We're still friends today, like since middle school.
I know, I love her too. She's very sweet.
So we were going to do like a pool hall, but it was going to be like hip hop themed, and there was going to be like open mic night, and like our tables were going to be like vinyl, and it was going to be very cool. And we designed it, we drew it, we thought of a bunch of different parts of it. And then we go to the Small Business Administration. It's like a government like agency that helps you build a business. And I don't remember, I think we told her the idea, I'm sure, but all I remember is her asking, do you guys have like investment for this, or do you have really good credit, or do you have like family members that will invest? And we were like, no, and no. We were 18.
I love the fact that you guys actually went and did this, though, right? Like, I feel like that's a lot of, like, not a lot of people, especially at that age, would go and do that.
And I don't even know how I knew that organization existed, but so that was kind of squashed, really cool. And we never did it. But I've always dreamed of it, but I've been so scared to do it. My dad has always been an entrepreneur, so I was exposed to it, and a lot of the people that I admire and that I took mentorship from online are entrepreneurs, but it just seems so scary. And then as single moms, I feel like you can take even less risks.
Oh yeah.
Because you are the sole person responsible. So like in a partnership, one person can take the risk, the other person can hold stability, and we can catch up. But with one person, like you don't have
need security.
Yeah, and you don't have time. Like sometimes with the business, you're not going to make any money for a little bit. You just don't have that option to not make money. So it just wasn't something I could get past my fears. I would get really stuck in the research phase, and I would research everything about this particular business. And then when I was done in the rabbit hole of learning that topic, I would be like, no, this is not going to work. It's not going to work because how am I going to
out of it?
Yeah, and I don't have time. And then I'd get busy with actual work, with my corporate job, and that's it. It was another dream like lost.
Yeah.
So with Powerhouse, I feel like the universe really hooked me up because it was like not even fully planned. It was just kind of went as you go, right? So I know in the past I've even done business plans for other ideas, and people have asked me about the business plan, but I think most business owners don't have a business plan. You just started and then kept going. Sometimes you'll create one if you need to get investments and things like that, but most people are literally just figuring it out. So that's kind of what happened, and it was a perfect intersection of like the work I learned in corporate with leadership and training and structure, and then I did a little bit of real estate. I did a little bit of insurance sales, and I did admin work mainly for an insurance agent. And all of that kind of, I just realized I really liked entrepreneurship. So I realized how much help they need on the organization side of things. And I really enjoy that. So it was like a win-win, and it was something I really wanted to do. So I did it for the client that I first had so that I could have more time to do other things. I didn't even still think I was going to open the business. I thought I'll replace my position as an admin so that I can sell insurance, and that will be my business. But I don't know why, even though I believe in life insurance, I can sell, I have it myself. It would give me anxiety. Like sales, just I can do it, but I feel like I've tapped out of how much I've already done, that it's not natural for me. So I didn't love how it felt. I loved training my new admin to learn everything I know and take over for me. And then quickly I started to get referrals, and I never actually started selling insurance. And that's just how the business started. From there, I slowly tried to incorporate structure into like our own business as it grew, right? It wasn't perfect from the beginning, but in the beginning I had a couple admins. I worked with them. When it got to the size where I felt like there was a few too many, then we need those tiers, like in corporate with leadership that manages a few people. This leader manages a few people here. And we've just tweaked and tweaked and tweaked along the way to get to the point where we are today.
I think I remember when you wanted to sell and when you were saying, okay, I can't sell because I'm doing too much admin work, so I don't have the time, so I need to find somebody. And I remember that whole process. But I don't, and I, like you said, like it wasn't a plan of, okay, well, I'm going to start running this business or do my own thing, but it did definitely align, and I think everything really just came together for you at the perfect time.
Yes.
Which was nice. It was a lot of hard work.
It was, but it was gradual.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people think of like the big business idea, and if I had thought at that time that I'm going to build this agency of admins with 30, 35 admins and a business partner, and 20 plus clients, that would have overwhelmed me to not start. I can't handle that, and that's too much, and then I won't have the structure, and I didn't, and that's okay because I only had one or two, and then from there the structure was built as it was needed.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So for me, never thought about entrepreneurship. It wasn't really. It was never portrayed to me. Obviously, I worked for people, right? I worked for corporations, but growing up, my parents, I know that I've spoken about this before, my parents immigrated here from Cuba, and my dad was very much the hard worker, right? Very determined, very hardworking, but always really instilled in us that you just work for someone, right? It was never like, you can go out and start your own business or do your own thing. It was more of you find a job, you work that job, you put your head down, keep it down, get the work done, don't ask for a raise, don't rock the boat, just work, make enough to survive and keep going. And that was really what was portrayed to me. Now, some things I agreed with, which were it was just really never start my own business. But the other things, like not ask for a raise, not move up, or like, no, like I work hard, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to, move up in the corporate world, though.
I actually never got good at that part.
Oh, yeah.
Like asking for a raise, or even like if they ask me and I have to negotiate.
It gave me anxiety, definitely, but I always did it. Like, I would be like, okay, just suck it up.
And you always got it.
Do it.
I remember.
It, right? So I always felt really good about myself because I was like, I guess that taught me more of like my value at work, right? Even though I suffer with like knowing my value in other places in the world, or like, how, like, am I enough in certain things? Like even with this business.
But it's because it is tied to work. This is something I'm trying to undo.
Yes.
Because it's not for deter for me.
We talk about this a lot too.
Because it's tied to work. So if you're not like giving an output, then you're not worthy. But that's not true at all.
No, but that's what I've taught myself, right?
Me too.
Yeah. With many years of work, that's what I've taught myself. So my value is always tied to work and how much I'm doing and how much I'm growing there. So I was able to do that. I was able to move up in the corporate world. I was able to, really find my place there. I started as a pharmacy tech. Like Cathy said, we both had kids young. I had my daughter at 19. So started as a pharmacy tech, got certified, kind of moved up from there, kept growing. Been in leadership for probably like a little over 16 years in different forms. But just never owning my own business or starting my own business. Those things just never really occurred to me. That's why when Cathy, started this business, and she was really talking, she would talk to us about it the entire time, like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And in the beginning, I really didn't even know what she was doing. I was like, she would tell me about the business, and I'm like, sounds cool. Sounds great. Had no clue really what it was about. But then when, things came together and I came into the picture and we started working together and she brought me in as a COO, it's a whole other world, right? When you work for corporate, even though I know they say like, right, the business can go under or they could fire you and you have no job, so where's your security, right? But you do have security because you feel in a way, right, at least you have a paycheck that's stable for that time.
Yes, but there's also mergers.
Yes,
sometimes
there's a lot of things that could happen.
It's a fake safety, but
yes, it is a fake safety because you don't know what could happen, right?
Yeah.
The business could go under. One day they could come in and they could just replace you. They can merge with another company, have their own people. They don't need you anymore. There's so many things that could happen. But while you're in it, you feel, okay, I have a paycheck every week. And like you said, as a single mother, that is something that's like very scary not to have, right? If you have to pay the bills, you have to make sure that there's food on the table, a roof over your head. Definitely something that you're like, oh, I definitely want a stable paycheck. So coming into this, I definitely had the security of now having a husband, right? Which made it a little bit easier for me as a single mother. Like, I have a husband that's going to help me, and we kind of agreed to that. And he was like, you should definitely go after this. But it was scary, and it's a different type of scary because you don't know what can happen, and there's always that fear too of, am I going to be good at this? Can I do this? So I feel like I've been navigating that since I came on board last November. It's been like, like tidal waves of, am I good at this? And then one day, like even this week, I think I had one day that I was like, I'm horrible. This is just not going well, and I'm just sucking. And then like the next day of, I can do this. I'm great at this.
It's definitely a roller coaster.
So it's a roller coaster of emotions. But yeah, I definitely didn't have that portrayed to me in my family growing up. Just not owning anything, not owning a home, it was all scary. But I'm definitely glad that, I've come to terms with those things and we're getting better.
Have you read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
I haven't. I know a lot of people that have.
It's really good. I didn't read it until late because it's been always a book that's been talked about, and I like those kind of books, but I don't know if it's because so many people hyped it up that I thought, I don't know.
I think that's what my thing is. Like, I know so many people that have read it. I think even Paul has read it, and I'm just like, oh, well.
It should be required reading, honestly.
Yeah.
And if you have a kid that will listen and that will read it, have them read it, because reading it now is a lot of the things I already now know. Mm-hmm. But I had to build to become that person. And he just teaches a lot of amazing lessons about work, about learning, and he describes like what you're saying, like your dad would be the poor dad technically, and he wasn't poor. No. He was a college educator, and I think he was a college professor or something government, but like a good stable job, and they were fine, but they never had extra, and he always believed in like following the line and staying in the order. And then the other dad was the risky business owner.
Yeah, the first one sounds just like my dad.
Yeah. And I didn't grow up with my dad like close, but you know, we still talked, and I'd see him once or twice a year and things like that. He's, as long as I've known him, always been a business owner. So I even though I didn't have direct conversations or experience maybe in business, I saw that it was possible.
I feel like you had that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes, and I always thought, you know what was my dream before, when I was in corporate? I thought, when I get to be like around 50-ish, before retirement, but like closer to the age, if I could find a job that I could work from anywhere and that paid me well, that I really enjoyed, that was my goal. Yeah. Because I wanted to be able to travel and not be stuck in like one specific spot, and I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I dreamed like that would be the goal. Mm-hmm. And when I would get closer to the age, then I would look into that. And then this happened, and it just fits all of that stuff. That was my goal, like that freedom of time, the freedom of location.
I definitely think that as I've gotten older, that freedom is something that I've been striving more for. I feel like I've always worked so hard and had to drive long distances to get to work, because I don't know why every job that I've picked or every company that I have worked for has been far. It's been over an hour drive each way. Every time. I don't understand what I do, but that seems to be the trend. And as I've gotten older, I mean, even in the, my last corporate job, it's just, I was like, I really want to work from home. I really need some more time from home. I really need to be around the house more and just not, have a better work-life balance.
Yeah.
That started to become very important to me. So this kind of, when this all happened, it definitely fell in line, because I was like, this is being home and being able to do work on my time and work things around our schedule. It's a blessing.
It is. But the blessing does not come easy.
Oh, no.
So I think that's what most people see when they romanticize it. Like, oh, if I could be a business owner, then I never really have to work and I can just hang out and be anywhere.
Yeah, go to the beach
whenever I want. It doesn't always work that way. And the goal is to get to that point, right? But that is going to take a lot of building of your business and success before you get to that point. So, and you're going to have to face all of your stuff. Are you willing to do that, right? So with entrepreneurs, I think, for those of us that were on the other side at first, they seem super brave. But I realize now, being in it, it's not that they're brave, is that they're persistent while being terrified. Yeah. Like, they're terrified, but they're going to keep going, and they're either going to learn a lesson or they're going to win. But either way, it's forward. So that's what I've realized, and it's easier to do that than to wait to be brave.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense. I feel like this really tests your personal growth, right? It's like the ultimate mirror to all your insecurities. So if you have insecurities, if you're worried about anything in your life, it's just gonna mirror that right back to you. Yeah. And that is really gonna stop you from moving forward and from being able to create the business that you're trying to create. I feel like had I done this by myself, like if I ever even decided or came up with this idea, I probably would not have kept going. Like, it's easier for me because I have you.
Yeah.
And because you started the business and because I came in after. I don't think that I would have been able to, because just now, like all of the things that have happened since November, there have been so many times that I'm like, oh no, I can't do this. Oh, I'm horrible at this. And then like, I'll cry and I'll tell Paul, Bill will be laying in bed and I'm just like, I'm just not good at this, or like I don't know how to manage people correctly. I don't know how to teach this. Like, and it's like, but you've done this. Like you're leading. You've done. I know you've told me before. Like, you've been a leader. You know how to lead. But there's so many things that you're just like have inside that you have so many self-doubts, and those self-doubts all come out. Because at different times things just go wrong, or they're not going the way that you planned it, or you envision something and then something else happens, and now that all gets put back in your face and you're like, no, I can't do this.
And you make everything mean something about you.
Yes.
When it's not. But then that also creates that. I think that's why, so I think it's, I'm really into self-development. So I tend to go into the mess so that I can get to the other side. And I wouldn't say I enjoy doing that, but I enjoy getting to the other side.
Yeah.
And I have done it in a lot of different things, and still, and I know you're into self-development too, but I think still starting a business, as much as I read and I did courses and I faced the stuff that I don't want to face, like this was just bigger.
Yeah.
Like it just,
I agree.
it highlights everything so much more.
Yeah, I think I've grown in a lot of areas in my life through all the self-development and through all the, the work that I've done. Still growing every single day, but I think that this is a different beast.
Yeah.
Like it brings out so many things and so many worries and so many fears that you've had in your life, and it just puts them right in front of you, and you're like, oh no, can I continue? But there is such a joy, I feel like, in being able to get to the other side. Like when you face that fear, when you accomplish something, right, that you didn't think you could accomplish, just like in any business, I feel like you're like, man, I'm so proud of myself. I was able to do that, and it just gives you such a joy.
Yeah.
So each one of those things just helps you to understand, like, I shouldn't give up on myself. I shouldn't give up on this idea.
But I think we have like a head start, being that we were already really into self-development, and having another person does help.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people that maybe have not really dug into self-development, or avoid like the darker parts or the scarier parts or the more emotional parts, and then you're faced with this in business, you immediately like want to run off.
Yeah, maybe that would have had you stop right from the beginning, or at some point, but you just kept going because because I've
learned some other stuff along the way that has helped, but I don't think everybody has, and that's why the first scary thing, you kind of just leave, right? You end it. So I think a misconception is that business owners have it all figured out. They absolutely don't. We don't know what we're doing. We're figuring it out as we go, and that's okay. So a lot of people are waiting to like already have the clarity and already have like the 6-figure business built already and mapped out before they even took that first step. And in those first few steps, you're going to learn so much, and you're going to pivot, and you're going to change things. That vision of the 6-figure business that you had originally might not be it after the first 10 steps, because you've learned a few different things. So let go of thinking that you have to have it all figured out before you're starting. The figuring out comes from starting. And then I'll think about why you really want to start a business. A lot of people, I think, do it, like we said, because it's popular, because it sounds easy, or it sounds like you get to have a lot of free fun time where you're not working. But that doesn't usually work for people. The first obstacle, the first insecurity that gets brought up and highlighted, the first failure, you're going to give up. So you have to really remember why you're doing this, and your reason can't be to make money or just have the freedom. You have to, and this is another thing I used to hear, and I couldn't find my thing, right? But they always used to say, you don't want to start a business to make money because you're not going to make money. You have to start it because you're really passionate about something, and because you want to help someone with something. Could be an entertainment or a tool or a accessory or whatever, but it's helping somebody in some way, and you want to spread that, and that is really important to you.
Yeah.
Because then that'll hold you through those difficult times, and it'll be something that you want to do, versus like kind of a get rich quick thing where you don't really enjoy this and you're not putting your all into the business.
I agree. So fear is biological, right? So we are all as humans craving certainty. I think we all want structure. It is much easier to kind of navigate business or the world, right, if we have a certain structure in place. But that's not where the real growth is, right? So growth is in chaos. As you're just moving through things, as you're learning, as you're in the mess, right? As you're in the mess, every messy step creates some type of growth in you. So you get more confident with every action that you take. Not the other way around. Like every step that you take, every error that you commit, right? It might not go well. Maybe you start this business and 7 things go wrong right from the beginning, but you learn something from that. Whereas if you didn't do it, you didn't learn anything, and now you can't keep going because what are you going to continue on? So you have to create that action. You have to just go for it, do it, and that's going to build the confidence in you and give you the clarity to keep moving forward. And it's going to drive the momentum. It's going to give you that dopamine hit, right? Like, oh, I can do this. This isn't hard. Or it's hard, but I can do it. But I didn't fail. Like, I didn't die.
And the small wins will stack.
Yes. So you have to reframe that, and every step that you take, every failure that you commit, any error that happens, it's all collecting data. And that is all driving your success later on. I know that if we, or even me, right? Like, so if I didn't mess up throughout this whole process in certain ways, it wouldn't teach me where to be now or like how to continue going. And that's even in the corporate world. Like, you're going to make mistakes no matter where you are. But if that's just where you give up, you're never going to get anywhere in life.
Yeah.
So I think that it feels more in business, because if you're owning your own business and you're an entrepreneur, as you fail, if you just decide to give up, well, now that's a real failure, right? You didn't continue, you didn't keep going. Now, where is the business? It didn't even launch. Yeah. So you want to just take those messy steps, take those failures, take those errors, and use them as momentum to keep going and thriving and not give up.
Yeah. I like to think of business owners as problem solvers. So it's not that it's going to be easy and there aren't going to be any problems. Is that that's our job, to solve those problems, and then maybe we create something out of those problems for our clients. So I talk to our team about that a lot, especially when we get new people, about how this business honestly was built a little piece from each person that's come on. Different people have contributed different things, and everything that we now have that seems so easy and amazing when we have our calls with clients, it was built off of usually a problem. Like, somebody had a problem and they needed data. We created a report. This is great. Now this is a report we can share with everyone. Or a client was upset about something and we fixed the problem, but now we need to fix, how do we prevent this from happening again? Or what do we implement? What kind of structure do we create to kind of ease this problem for this client? So because of all the problems, we've taken it on as an opportunity, and then we create something out of it, some kind of SOP, anything. So it's been really cool to see that also.
It has. And also, like, some of our clients that come on board, they have new like tasks that we're doing for them, and then we can implement those with other clients. We're like, oh, that's a great idea. Why don't we do this? And you just continue growing from there, and you stack, right? You stack your knowledge. So it might not have been something that we learned on our own or from anyone that comes into our team, but we learned it from a client, which is really cool, because now that's something that we can offer our other clients. And, you know, it's something that they appreciate, but something that we can now put in our little, you know, book of, okay, now, yeah, exactly. And we're like, oh, okay, well, now we can offer this as well. And it's all about learning and growing.
Yeah. It's really awesome to see the business built off of that. So don't be scared to encounter problems. Get excited about them. So a lot of people get overwhelmed by the dream, right? You have this huge dream, possibly thinking, let's say it's at the top of a mountain, and you can't even see the whole road up to the peak of this giant mountain. And you try to plan for it, but there's so many different things that can go wrong. You get so nervous about what you might encounter that you never even climb up the mountain, right? So I think I think of it now as just steps. Like you just take the next couple steps in front of you, and as you do, that's going to open up more things for you. It's going to open up more questions, more options, and just more paths of where you need to go. So you can have the big dream at the top, right? But then you put it down and don't worry about that huge dream. More think about the steps to get there, right? So start where you are right now. That would be my first thing. Where are you right now? Let go of having the need to feel clarity on everything, to know exactly how it's going to turn out or exactly how you're going to do this, because that's not real, right? And pick one idea. This is one thing I struggle with. I'm constantly coming up with ideas, and sometimes I just need to pause and pick the one that I'm most excited about and that has like the most possibility for growth, right? So once you have this one idea, don't worry about clarity.
Yeah.
And you're starting where you are now, right? That means, what do you have available time-wise and money-wise? What kind of business can you start with where you're at right now? And what kind of business would you be really excited about starting, right? And you can go through all of the obstacles for. Like, this is a strong enough want that you'll go through the struggles. Then the next step is to write down the next 10 steps, right? So if your dream is, let's say, of owning like an investment property, that can be overwhelming of where to find, what to find it. What if it doesn't get rented? What if this? What if that? Have the dream, but now scale it all the way back, right? Yeah. So where are you right now? First of all, do you have the money? That would be step one, right? If you don't, that's fine. How much money do you need? Not just to buy the home, but maybe give yourself a little bit of a cushion just in case you can't rent it for a certain amount of months. And then start saving towards this goal, right? While you're saving, you can start researching. Is it a certain size that you're looking for? Is it a certain location? The specifics. And what are you really looking for while you're saving this money? Once you have the money and you have the kind of property you're looking for, the next step is not getting the property. The next step is finding a realtor that you trust that knows the area, right? And then you can start to look at properties, continue to save, and just continue to come up with different parts of the plan while you're really going through this next step, which is working with the realtor. So don't overwhelm yourself, really break down the steps and work on the ones that you can work on now. The next one is the vision, right? Building your identity as a business owner, but also what you want your business to look like, right? What does ownership look like in your eyes? What does the time constraints look like? What does it look like for you to lead your team? Will you have a team, or would you be working alone? Just kind of thinking about how you want that to look. You don't have to have it all perfect, but having the idea of it kind of helps you keep that in mind as you're building. That was a big one for me. Coming from corporate was super important to have that vision of what I wanted my business to look like. So a big one is get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because I think you'll be more uncomfortable than comfortable.
That's a huge one. Not big, huge, yes.
The comfortable times will be really great, but there's a lot more uncomfortable times.
Yes.
And then a huge one also is take on a test and learn mindset. Nothing is set in stone. You can change. I feel like sometimes also people get really locked in, like even a logo. How many huge businesses don't change their logo?
Yeah.
Or
their slogan.
Yes.
Right? And that is the great thing about owning your own business. Like, you can test things out, try it, doesn't work, well, move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Who's gonna fire you?
Exactly. So don't think it needs to be, all perfect. Mm-hmm. You're gonna be learning as you go through this, and that's part of the fun, right? And then community is a big one, right? I don't think I had a ton of business owners specifically that I spoke to, but I did have a close group of friends, my husband now, and just other people that I would talk to about the idea. When I'm freaked out, people that will talk you off the ledge, because that is a huge need. So I would recommend joining a community like something like us, the Limitless Tribe, where you can connect with other women that are looking to grow, not just in business, but in life, in their own insecurities and their own personal dreams, and just anything that you're looking to let go of. Connect with people that are the same, right? But also, if you can connect with another business owner, that would be amazing.
Highly recommend.
because they're going to understand the struggle. They're going to understand just everything, right? And they're I feel like usually too, we're going to be on opposite sides. I feel like when you're freaking out, I am good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're calm. And when I'm freaking out, you're like, we're
It's
good.
okay.
There's nothing wrong. I'm like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, okay. So it's nice to have that. So I highly recommend those two to keep you on the entrepreneurship journey, and so you don't fall off with the difficult struggles that come.
I definitely think communicating or just finding another entrepreneur to talk to is so important, and I've noticed that in this business. As we've spoken to our clients are all entrepreneurs. They're all doing their own thing and leading their business in their own way. And one of the probably most eye-opening things that I notice is how freely they are with helping and giving ideas. And I feel like if you talk to another person that's not a business owner and you tell them what you're planning to do, a lot of times you're met with resistance of, oh, I don't know, like that sounds really scary and I don't think I would do that, or are you sure you want to do that? Because it's their insecurities that they're projecting onto you.
And in their head, they're helping you.
Exactly. It's not that they're doing it maliciously.
Yeah.
They think that they're helping you because they're like, oh, let me protect this person because this is, they want protection and they feel like this would be really scary for them. But when we've talked to other entrepreneurs, I feel like they're like, oh, you know what? That's a good idea, but you know what would be even better? And like they throw out something crazy and you're like, oh, that's amazing. And they like, I don't know. It's such a sense of like freeness. Right? And just they're helping you grow. And I don't know, I just found that to be so amazing because I just feel like that's not something that you see in just like people that haven't started a business or haven't done it before.
Yeah.
So it was big.
I wonder if in like corporate, there's more of like a scarcity mindset because there's only one of certain roles, right?
Yeah.
So then sometimes I've been in that role and it felt like the people under me, it was almost like there was a target because the only way for them to get promoted is for me to go.
Yeah.
Either a promotion or out. But that's the only way for them to get one. And there's literally only one role in the whole area. So it's very limiting. But with business, I think most business owners feel like it's like there's
so much
unlimited
opportunity.
Yeah. Even in the same fields, right? There's room for everyone really.
Yeah.
So it's really awesome. And our job is usually to come up with those ideas and to give our clients those ideas, and we do. So to see it returned and clients asking like, oh, what can we do to help you guys? Just because they love us and because they want to help is really cool.
Yeah, I think at one time I wanted to be a Beachbody coach. Never happened. But I remember telling myself there's so many. Like there's so many of them. Like, what am I going to do in this if there's so many Beachbody coaches ready? And I remember listening to one woman and she was like, but they're not you, right? Like you have something different to offer just by your personality or different things that you do in your life. So I think that's one of the things about like other entrepreneurs, like they're not scared because everyone has something different to offer, right?
I have a friend that, and I think my husband's a little bit like this, they're super logical, right? So to them, it has to be a brand new, original idea. And if it's not, then it's not worth it, right? Because it already exists. But that's the one factor, right? Even if it already exists, it doesn't have the you-ness in the version that you're going to do. And also, sometimes the version that exists isn't great. So I don't know if you know, and I'm probably slaughtering the story because I have a bad memory, but Uber and Lyft aren't the first ones that did that.
Oh, okay, no.
There was other companies, I don't know the name, but there was another company that did it before Uber.
But it failed. It tanked.
I don't know if it failed, but Uber came along and just completely took over the market. I don't remember the story of that company, but imagine if Uber didn't want to do this because they already existed.
Yeah.
Or like, I just went recently to Seattle, and there's so many coffee companies in Seattle where Starbucks was created, and they were saying that there's 1,000 Starbucks in Seattle, but besides those 1,000 Starbucks, there's like the little French bakery, and then there's this coffee spot. There's so many coffee spots, and each one relates to different people based on location, based on vibe in there, based on the actual coffee, pastries. Like there's a need for all of it.
Yeah, it's true. So remember, build it your way, right? So if you're from corporate or have worked in any type of corporate world, you want to shape that mindset. You don't want to bring everything from corporate into your own business. There are some good things, right, that might be structural, that you're like, oh, okay, well, I definitely like this way, or how this worked out. But you want to make it your own, and you want to give it your own feel. Don't just take everything. Take the good. You don't have to, take the bad stuff with you, like the anxiety and the overwork. You don't need to recreate those things. But make it your way. See how it feels. You can always adapt. You can always change. There's nothing is set in stone. You're your own boss. There's no one that's going to fire you, like we said before. You're doing this and on your flow, on your terms, with your own energy, and yeah, just make it your own.
This one is big for me.
Yes.
Because I wanted to own my own business, and it was always a dream, but so was freedom, and so was flexibility, and also calm. I didn't want to feel the stress and anxiety and the whole, like, my worth is being measured day by day based on what I produce, and if it's a bad day, then you're worthless today.
Yeah, that's why you left corporate.
Yeah, so I don't want that.
Mm-mm.
So, and it's very easy to recreate it because it's how you grow up and the structure you've led for so long. So it's something I check often. Like I try to see if I'm extremely stressed, then I try to figure out, like, what am I doing wrong and why is this happening? Because thankfully we're lucky that we're doing well, that we're
Thriving.
We're thriving. So there isn't that stressor of money, but if I'm feeling overworked or overstressed or things like that, I have to remind myself there's nobody hovering over my shoulder.
Yeah, with a whip, like, you have to do this,
Yeah.
or with, like, you have to meet these goals by
Yes.
the end of this quarter, or else,
Yeah,
your team is gonna tank or whatever,
correct. I want to, and I'm going to work my
Yes.
butt off for this goal, but if I don't, there's next quarter. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a failure. Usually something else came out, and we did something else, and that grew.
That is true. I feel like even if you don't meet certain, like, we set goals for ourselves. We set company goals. We want to hit certain marks, obviously, but I feel like even if we don't hit that specific goal, something else was either created or something else went well that we could then check off and be like, well, we didn't hit that, but look what happened here.
Yeah, we stopped
right?
to create, like, all these other things that are going to build towards that.
Exactly. And that's a good feeling.
Yeah. So I sometimes have to check myself because it's me bringing that bad energy, right? So, and before or around the time of starting the business, I was learning about, like, feminine energy and attracting versus being the one that is, like, out. Like, in sales, you're like the hunter. Mm-hmm. So in this business, I wanted to do it differently, and I wanted it to come easier, right? I grew up like Mel, like, you have to work really hard, and when you're working really hard, then you work harder, and then you work harder, and that
never stops.
And that is how you eventually get there, but you never do because you have to work harder.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to think differently, right? I've been trying to think about working smarter versus harder, and it doesn't always require more work or more time. It's just more strategy or doing something in a better way. So I try to check myself on that stuff a lot, because as much as I wanted a business, I didn't want it to feel how I have felt in corporate sometimes. And to build a business and then do that to yourself, I feel like is even worse.
Yeah, it's true. And I know we're talking about business and not manifestation and stuff like that, but I definitely feel like as you work in more calm and more gratitude, more things come to you, and you get more ideas. You get more clients. It just comes more easy.
Yeah.
And you don't feel that stress and that pressure because you're in this state of peace.
Yeah. It's like that not, like, want it but don't need it energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then things are attracted to you more. And lately my new mantra is, the less I work, the more I earn.
Oh, I like that.
Because sometimes we had a day, for Mel's birthday, we took a day off during the week, and we had a spa day.
It was amazing.
It was, and it's like at a beach. So we were at the beach. We had lunch there. Amazing tacos. There's a massage. There's tea. Like, it was awesome.
I'll plug it. If you're in Miami, go to Eden Rock.
It's awesome.
It's amazing.
It's like a day pass for the whole thing. So but then we had one call scheduled at like 3 p.m. For a possible new client. So that's the only business we really took that day. And we take the call for the new client. 2 full-time admins coming to the team.
Yes.
And other times, there was a day recently I was super stressed out. I don't know, I was just angsty?
Yeah, angst.
I felt
full of angst.
Yeah, I just felt cranky and anxiety. And I went out for a walk with a friend that lives in the neighborhood. We walked for 2 hours.
Wow.
Yes, I felt like there was smoke coming out of my I didn't even realize it was 2 hours. It was just like venting. And when I came back, honestly, I felt a whole mood switch. I needed it because if I hadn't spent those 2 hours, which in the past I would be like, I just wasted 2 hours that I did not work. But I
wasn't being productive, but you were.
I was, because I needed the energy shift, because in the shitty energy that I was in, I wasn't doing anything anyways. Yeah. I wasn't working the way I wanted to. Like, I just wasn't feeling it. So I needed the energy shift, and then I felt energized again, and I'm back in it, right?
Yeah.
So, and after that, I got a message from another client recommending another admin. So it's like when those things happen, that's what I tell myself.
Yeah, you feel this alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it's just like relationships that we've talked about in the past. Yes, there's hardships in business, but it's more internal, you know? It's not supposed to feel so incredibly tough, I think.
Yeah.
It's tough internally with going through this stuff with yourself.
Yeah, because you have a lot of self-doubt and a lot of obstacles that are going to come into play.
Yeah.
But, you know, as long as you keep just one step at a time moving forward, you should be okay.
So that was a huge factor for me that I still tweak, right? So find your version of success. What does that mean? What does that look like? And it doesn't mean it's going to be where you start your business, but ideally, what kind of hours would you like to be working? What kind of shifts? Is location an issue for you, right? Or do you want it to include travel where you have to go out and visit clients? Just kind of dream a little bit about what this ideal version looks like. In the beginning, you do hustle a little bit more, but as you grow, you're able to loosen up and you have that vision of how you want your business to look.
Yeah.
So build it around your lifestyle. Don't build it around anybody else's expectations or what they say. You're doing this to help other people and to make yourself happy, right? So I think the hustle is glamorized a lot.
Yes.
But it's just really burnt out, unhappy, tired people. It is. I've been there.
You come home, you're exhausted, and you're cranky.
And it's not because I think we have days that you're exhausted, but you're like excited about something that we did. Yeah,
it's a different exhaustion.
Yes.
Because and it's like that dopamine hit where something good happened, and then you're like, oh, you know, I accomplished this.
Yeah.
And now you're tired because it's been a long day and because you've done a lot, but you're also excited and proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not like I feel like you still have less control in other scenarios, so then the exhaustion is just exhaustion.
Yes.
So, it's not about the constant hustle, right? The real flex is having peace. That is the flex. And I think some people look for it later, right? Because in the beginning, you do need to make money. But ultimately, that's the flex, I think, when it comes to life and business ownership and anything else, right? So you're going to be scared often, probably more often than not.
Yes.
You're going to fail sometimes, more than once, most likely, and that's okay. That's just a lesson. But do it anyways, right?
Yeah.
Take it as a sign to start. And if you needed like that permission, this is it. Like start messy, figure it out as you go, and don't think that you're doing it differently than everyone else. That's how we're all doing it, and that's how the success happens. So if you're out there doing it messily, doing it scared, one little piece at a time, you're doing it right.
Yeah. And this is your permission to not ask for permission. Just have the courage to follow through. I think that's the most important thing. One step at a time, messy or not, just keep going. If you stumble, just get back up, figure out how to move forward again. You tried something, it fails, try something else, but always keep going. Don't get scared and give up.
Absolutely. So if you have a dream that you've been thinking about, something you've been really passionate about doing, not just an idea you think will make money, something that like pulls at you, that you feel like you'd enjoy and is beneficial for someone else, then I encourage you to write down those first 10 steps. Think tiny, right? Think about the property example. Don't think big, think tiny. What are the next 10 tiny steps? The tinier the better, honestly, because it's going to give you that dopamine hit of those wins, and then you can get into the bigger stuff, right? And then if you are a business owner, then this is your sign to keep going. You're doing it right. You're learning as you go. As long as you don't give up and you learn from every lesson and you adjust each time, you'll get there. And if you need any help, if you're in between the two, please write to us at the Limitless Tribe. We would love to be an ear, to give you feedback if you want it, to just be a place where you could vent. If you have a specific question, we'd love to answer it. If we know it, or we can direct you somewhere, we will.
Oh yeah, we would love to hear your ideas and like things that you want to create, so we can even help you navigate that.
Yeah, even if you need help with the steps, right? You have this big dream, but you don't even know what the steps are. We're usually pretty good about that, and we can maybe help you start with some, and then you knowing more about the business, we'll create your first 10 steps with you, right? This is something I love to do, so it would be free. But just I will put here our Instagram handle, so you can DM us, right? Don't be scared. DM us any questions, any rants. We're here to hear. And then our next episode is going to be about expectations and dropping the expectations that society, family, and just all the things we pick up along the way, and letting go of that so you can create the life that you actually dream about and will actually enjoy.
Good. So if you like this episode or know somebody that will benefit from it, please like, subscribe, share, and as always, your life, your rules. Stay limitless.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.